Introducing the Keylex line of products distributed by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited. Keylex Jumpstart to get your plants off to the right start. KP 120 to promote root growth and plant development. 350 DP, chock full of micronutrients to maintain your crops. KP 625 with micronutrients for your citrus trees, other fruit trees, nut trees, and corn. Plus Blossom Formula with chelated calcium, chelated magnesium, and boron for a wide variety of row and tree crops. The Keylex line of products distributed by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited, the first on the land. Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, is brought to you by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
Time now for Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. So I did indicate that the government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, they recently launched, it's an annual activity, the Irish potato and onion production programs. Of course, part of that is to ensure or to try to ensure that we become self-sufficient in the production of Irish potato and onions. Well, this morning, for Fersan in the Field, Nigel Panton joins us, and he's turning the spotlight on Irish potato production and productivity. Nigel is the agronomist responsible for Zone 2, which includes the parishes of St. Anne, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. Nigel, good morning and welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Althea. Good morning to you too. How are you doing?
I am great. Good to have you on with us, and good to be having a conversation about Irish potatoes, and not just focused on production, but productivity as well, Nigel. We eat a lot of Irish potatoes in this country, don't we?
Definitely. And if you look at the import of Irish potato, it's really have been trending up, especially for last season. We didn't really have a season that favors Irish potato production. If you look at most of the areas that really grow, majority of the Irish potato consumed locally, they really had a heavy hit in terms of the drought. So
Yes,
we realized that the importation was really high. The farmers was heavily impacted last season by the drought. So this season
and so the truth then is that even though the farmers make all the efforts to try to get us the food that we need, and we can use what is happening with Irish potatoes as an example, the challenges faced by prevailing weather conditions can make a difference in terms of their bottom line. And I would imagine, Nigel, that you'll cover some of that ground in terms of the challenges that the farmers face. And sometimes, even with Mother Nature doing its thing, the farmers themselves make mistakes. So that is where I want to start. I want to focus a little bit on some of the challenges experienced by farmers generally in Irish potato production. What have you all been seeing as you have been going out into the field and engaging the farmers?
Very good. Thank you, Althea. So in our day-to-day field advisory services, we come up on numerous challenges, but we'll just go through a few of them this morning. And I want to start by the planting material. So over the years, we have seen where farmers have gotten an inconsistent availability of good quality planting material. When I say planting material, I mean the Irish potato seed. Sometimes we have cases where farmers might get planting material that germinate late. Some of them don't germinate at all. And we really find, once you have a situation like that, it reduces the amount of plant you have per year and ultimately reduces the amount of yield. So that is one of the challenges. We also see in cases where farmers have been utilizing an imbalanced nutrient management regime. And when I say imbalance, I mean a nutrient system that does not cater for the plant demand in terms of nutrients adequately. So that is one of the challenges we have seen farmers facing. We look at, we also see where pest and disease has also posed a threat to the productivity of Irish potato, mainly the late blight, early blight, and also mites. So we have seen where farmers have stumbled upon these disease and pests But in terms of controlling or preventing these diseases, we have seen areas for improvement. Maturity indices. How do I know when my Irish potato is ready? There are some historical myths that farmers might follow and say they look for these signs or they look for these symptoms and say my Irish potato is ready because it is displaying these signs. But sometimes they get distracted and then they reap the Irish potato too early and they reap the Irish potato too late. So we look at the maturity indices. Some farmers are following the wrong maturity indices as to when the tuber is ready to be harvested. There is also another concern that we have, and we see it here season after season, where a very important process in Irish potato production is oftentimes shortchanged by farmers, and that is molding cultural practices. Once you don't mold the Irish potato properly, you realize that you compromise not just the quantity, but also the quality of the Irish potato. So we see that year to year on our field advisory services, where farmers are not molding the Irish potato. Weed management and other cultural practices, where a lot of the fields you see them established nicely, but as soon as they reach 4 or 6 weeks, you see that the field become engulfed in weeds. And once you have competition for weeds, you have loss of nutrients, you invite pest and disease into the production area, and also it gives you a challenge to scout the field to know when you are going to spray your insecticide, or the vegetation of the plant is maturing, and all those best practices in agriculture. Another challenge that we come upon sometimes is site selection. And one of the main factors of your site is really a temperature. Because if you look on most of the areas that grow Irish potato, they are elevated. So that is a clear indication that Irish potato prefer elevated areas or high elevation areas. And one of the reasons for that is really temperature. Irish potato is one of those tubers that is very temperature sensitive. It grows best in the cooler climate. And it is not by chance that in Jamaica, the Irish potato season falls in the rainy season. So once you see September start coming to a close, straight back to early January, February, you realize that the temperatures are normally lower. And that is what favors tuberization in Irish potato. There are some areas of Jamaica that have the luxury of planting outside of the stipulated planting season. For example, some areas of Manchester, they can have a longer gap as to when they plant Irish potato. And again, it comes back to the temperature, because a lot of those areas are what we call microclimate that caters for the tuberization of the plant. So we want to be very cognizant of the fact that the plant is sensitive to temperature. And once you don't have the suitable temperature in and around the plant, you find out that the size and the numbers of tubers are compromised.
Which we would have seen clearly coming out during the period of extended drought, which you referenced earlier on, because clearly the extended drought period means hotter and drier conditions. And if Irish potatoes favor the cooler climes and times, then that would account for many of the challenges that farmers would have faced.
Exactly, Althea. And also, if you will look on the geographic of enough of the areas, I think it's safe to say 99% of the areas that really grow Irish in Jamaica is not irrigated, meaning that this is rain-fed. So once you have a shortage of rainfall, you find out that the Irish potato season get a heavy hit once you have a shortage of rainfall. And if you look at how the plant behaves, once the temperature starts to rise, food that was supposed to store in the farm of tubers, the plant use that energy to respire. So you find out that the plant gives you a heavy vegetation on the top, but when you check the tubers underneath the soil, it is very small and you get a very few tubers, because the plant is respiring rather than storing food in the farm of the tuber that we eat. So once we have the success of the Irish potato season in Jamaica is dependent on the temperature and the rainfall that we get in the Irish potato areas.
Wow. And so the farmers really need to sit up and pay attention to the information you're sharing this morning. All right, so you've walked us through quite a number of challenges: inconsistency in terms of good quality planting material, imbalanced nutrient management program or regime, inadequate pest and disease management, maturity indices, inadequate cultural practices, land preparation, and site selection. So having gone through all of that, I know that you're then moving to the next part of what we do here in this feature. We have the real issues, which you have highlighted, and now time for us to share these solutions, which begs the question, what are some of the interventions that you have made, Newport-Fersan, that you've all made to address the issues faced by farmers in Irish potato production?
Very good, Althea. So, as a company, we always try to see how we can improve farmers' production and productivity. And Irish potato is one of those crops that we all dear to our hearts, not just in supplying fertilizers or nutrients that can grow the crop, but also other factors in the crop production. But I want to start off by speaking a little about our flagship program, which is our precise nutrient management system. We continue to implore to Irish potato farmers that if you are able to get a soil test done, know what is in the soil, craft your nutrient program based off what is in the soil, we encourage you to do that. But we know that a lot of farmers will never do a soil test. But it begs the question, do they still need fertilizers? And the answer is yes. So we went ahead and we did the soil test in the Irish potato areas, years of soil testing, and we came up with blends that can be used throughout those areas, and we call those the Potato-Lizer. So they come in two combinations. We have the starter, the Potato-Lizer Starta, and the Potato-Lizer Finisha. So for farmers who have historically used in traditional blend, one of the drawbacks we see is that those traditional blends that farmers used to use consist of only 3 nutrients. But as scientists, we know that plants require more than 3 nutrients to carry out its different functions. If you look at Irish potato, it needs more than 3 nutrients to develop its vegetation, tuberization, and root development, root mass, to extract nutrients and water from the soil. All those processes depend on more than 3 nutrients. So we went ahead and we crafted 2 blends. The Potato-Lizer Starta, it also has an NPK, meaning that it has nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but we incorporated other nutrients such as sulfur, magnesium, iron, zinc, and boron. Those are very important in terms of the development stage of the plant, early root, early shoot system. We also went ahead and we did not stop it there. We added a soil ameliorant to the Potato-Lizer Starta in the form of humic acid. So you get nutrients, both micro, macronutrients, and we added a soil ameliorant to it in the form of humic acid. And then... All right,
and I'm going to ask you to pick up on that when we come back from the break. Right on the break, so let me just clear it and come back.
Miss Betty, early blight take over my tomato. I mean, paper full of powdery mildew. What me I go do? Clear way? Oh, you are tell me to clear way. What do you think me and your friend?
No, Mas Kelso. May I tell you to use Clearway from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica. It is a contact and systemic fungicide with protective and curative actions against a wide range of fungal diseases such as anthracnose and early blight in tomato, purple blotch in onion, late blight in potato, leaf spot in peanut, powdery mildew in pepper, and much more.
Thanks, Miss Betty. You're really my friend. You're coming Newport-Fersan rep right now. Can't forget that name there. Clearway.
Clearway. Farmers, get your supply today. Another premium product from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited.
So we're inside the feature Fersan in the field, real issues, real solutions. This morning we're taking a look at Irish potato production and productivity with Nigel Panton, agronomist for Zone 2. And before we took the break, and Nigel was talking about the precise nutrient management system, moving as well to the Potato-Lizer, and you were talking, Nigel, touching on the importance of humic acid. So you can pick up there for us.
Yes. So I was reiterating the fact that in the blend we incorporated micronutrients, macronutrients, and also soil ameliorant in the form of humic acid. So the Potato-Lizer Starta is what would replaces the traditional 14 that farmers used to, the 14-28-14 that farmers used to plant the crop with. So how much of this fertilizer do you apply? We are proposing 2, maximum 3 bags per acre of the Irish Potato-Lizer Starta. When do you use it? The same time you're dropping the seed, you drop the Potato-Lizer Starta. And as we said earlier, one of the benefits of this blend is that it does not incorporate only nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but it gives you other nutrients that is essential for the plant to grow and carry out a different function. Once you start with the Irish Potato-Lizer Starta, at 4 weeks, or when the plants reach approximately 6 inches, you come back with the Potato-Lizer Finisha, and you use 5 bags of that per acre. The farmers, I want you to take note of that. All these recommendations are per acre. So traditionally, some farmers will plant with their 14, and they come back when they are molding with the same 14, or they come back with some sulfate. What we are proposing, a better option, is starting with the Potato-Lizer Starta at planting. And when you are molding at 30 days, or when the plant reach approximately 6 inches, you come back with your Potato-Lizer Finisha. Again, the Finisha is not just an NPK. It has in sulfur, it has in zinc, and it has in other macronutrients, that can secondary macronutrients that is essential for the plant to carry out a different function. Althea, I also just want to run through a little numerics, because these blends, these improved blends that we design at Newport-Fersan, we place them under rigorous testing before we commercialize them, and in the form of demonstration plot. And I want to share some of these testimonies and some of these yields that farmers have been enjoying with the Irish since they switched from the traditional fertilizers and using the Potato-Lizer Starta and Finisha. So we did some demonstration plot across the major Irish potato belt. So not just one area. We did in St. Anne's, we did in Einstown, we did in St. Mary in Goshen, we did some in Manchester. We did several in Manchester, to be frank. We did some in St. Elizabeth, and we did some on the western side of the island in Westmoreland. And we see cases where, let me pull one for you. We did one in Einstown, St. Anne, major Irish potato era. And before the farmer started using Irish Potato-Lizer, remember, the farmer is used to using his traditional 14, and then when he's molding, he's come back with the 14 again. He used to get approximately 12,000 pounds per acre of Irish. Upon introduction and incorporation of the Potato-Lizer Starta and Finisha, he now start getting 17,000 pounds of Irish potato. Even the other day I talked to this farmer, and he is currently preparing and he's putting in harder ahead of time, because it's something that we have to formulate and blend specifically. We did another demonstration in Manchester, in Devon. Farmer was getting 13,000 pounds in the traditional blend. Upon incorporation of the Potato-Lizer Starta, he's getting 16,500. That's a variance of 3,500 per acre. So we realized that farmers that move over from the traditional blend to the Potato-Lizer, we realized that their yields have been increasing, and also the quality, because quality is also another aspect in the potato market. Nobody wants a potato that is irregular shape. So we realize that we get more uniform tubers, and the quantity is also more. I want to look at another one. We did one in St. Mary, big Irish potato areas, in Goshen to be exact. And the farmer was averaging about 9,000. And when we did the demonstration plot with the farmer, and he incorporated into its operation, he got 16,000 pounds from the acre. And he has been growing Irish potato from before I was born. And he have never got these yields. And that's a difference of 7,000 pounds per acre upon transition from the traditional blend to the improved blend. So I could go on and on, Althea.
That is actually amazing, Nigel. And is that typical of the kinds of results that you get from the use of the products in Irish potato production? And so, and as a matter of fact, now that I'm saying that, I'm also realizing that not only it's not just about production, but it's the productivity. The farmers are getting far more out of the same plot of land.
Very good, very good. And what marvels a lot of farmers is the consistency of the results that we are getting. And that is why we do these demonstration plots in different areas. So we don't tie it to St.Ann, we carry it to Westmoreland, we carry it to different areas under different conditions. And the variance that we are seeing in terms of where they were with the traditional blend and where they are now with the Potato-Lizer is something breathtaking. So we use these opportunities to enlighten farmers on what are some of the benefits when they transit from traditional blend to the Potato-Lizer.
Nigel, I see here the big potatoes are usually thrown away. The oversized potatoes don't sell well in supermarkets. And so the question is, how do the farmers maintain consistency in terms of the size of the potatoes?
Very good. So as I said in the earlier part, maturity indices is one of them. So you want to look at when the potato is mature. One of the key determinants of when the potato is mature is record keeping. And by virtue of record keeping, you bring to light when you plant and 12 weeks after you plant. So 12 weeks after you plant, that is when the potato is ready to harvest. And also, you would have known that a lot of persons or a lot of housewives that go to the market, they don't want to Irish potato that is too big, that they probably have to cut 3 times and put back some in the fridge. So that is something that you want to marshal as a farmer in terms of your maturity indices. And as I said, there are sometimes I have a conversation with farmers and they will tell you about some historical way or some historical myths of knowing when the Irish potato is ready. But one of the key determinants of when it is ready is record keeping. What comes to light by virtue of record keeping is when you plant it, marking the date when you plant it, and 12 weeks after the planting date, or 12 weeks after germination. 12 weeks after germination, the Irish potato is ready to be harvested.
So it is critical, that record-keeping aspect of it, if you are to ensure that you're not reaping early, or you're not reaping late, but reaping at the right time, so you're getting the right size. That will, of course, ensure that you don't get the kinds of rejections that Trelawney just mentioned here. How much would you say our farmers, though, Nigel, they are adhering to this? Are they paying enough attention to it? Some of them?
Well, those who use the Irish Potato-Lizer and subscribe to our best practices that we convey to farmers or our training, they are seeing the result. And one thing with farming, once a farmer see the benefits and see the rewards of doing something, he will continue to do it. Excellent. Once he knows the benefit and see the rewards in terms of money and productivity, he will continue to do it. So most of the farmers who are still subscribed to traditional blends, for one reason, they haven't been exposed in terms of the efficacy and the increase in yields that you get in using the Potato-Lizer Starta. And that is why, as a company, we never stop training farmers, because we know there are farmers out there that are getting low yields, are getting low quality, and the fix to that is the Irish Potato-Lizer. So, as a company, we never stop training, we never stop doing field visits, we never stop keeping promotional activity, we never stop bringing the word to farmers, because our aim is not just to sell fertilizer, but is to sell quality fertilizer that can impact a farmer's operation.
Nigel, one of the challenges, as I listened, I was listening to the news this morning and focusing on the challenges being faced by residents in some sections of Portland with heavy rainfall. Coming into this part of the season where we're seeing a lot more rain, farmers have to be very careful, I know, how it is that they're using particular kinds of products. And at this time, lots of pests and diseases are likely to crop up. When we come back from the break, I want to touch on the issue of fungicide and insecticides, because the use of these very, very important as well in terms of an overall system of management on your Irish potato farm. So I'll touch on that. Plus, of course, I know you have some training coming up that you likely want to mention. So I'll give you an opportunity to do that as well. And farmers, remember, you can send through your questions or your comments 876-922-4112 through 5. You can also send us a WhatsApp or text message 876-279-8598. Let's take that break and come right back to this conversation with Nigel Panton.
Farmers, are diamondback moths, cabbage loopers, armyworms, budworms, cutworms, melonworms, aphids, leaf miners, whiteflies among those pests threatening to strike your crop? Well, wait no longer. Strike first with First Strike Insecticide from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
We are inside the feature Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And with us this morning, Nigel Panton, agronomist for Zone 2. And that encompasses the parishes of St. Anne, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. We're taking a look at some of the challenges experienced by farmers in Irish potato production and, of course, the solutions. Nigel has been sharing really good information in terms of the issues and challenges that the farmers face, but providing the solutions along the way as well, which is really very important. Now, Nigel, as I'd indicated ahead of the break, we are in that part of the year where we're getting a lot more rain. We're likely to see more fungal infections, that proliferation of insects. It's so interesting that when you have a lot of rain, we have a proliferation of insects. When it is dry, we have a proliferation of insects. And so I know that the farmers need to have some sense of how it is that they control this so that they don't lose their crops to them. So any ideas you want to put on the table this morning?
Very, very good, Althea. Thank you. So one of the drawbacks with the Irish potato season is that it relies on the rainy season or cool weather. And the drawback with that is that you have more incidences of fungicide, of fungus, rather. With that said, what you need to prevent your plants from being attacked by fungus is really good quality fungicide. And given the fact that Irish potato is planted in the rainy season, what you have to use in your pest management program is mainly systemic fungicide, meaning that it goes inside of the tissues of the plant, and when the rain falls, it does not easily get washed off of the leaves, and then you don't get the efficacy of the product. So at Newport-Fersan, we have a catalog of fungicide that is targeted towards fungus that affects Irish potato, mainly the early blight and the late blight. And if you have ever stumbled up, if any farmers ever stumbled up on the late blight or the early blight, they would have known of how lethal this disease is. So what we implore to farmers is always spray to prevent the incidences of these diseases. What you use worldwide, one of the known chemistry that control and prevent blights, both late and early blight, is really metalaxyl. And we have that at Newport-Fersan. We have the metalaxyl active ingredient, and we call it Victory Plus. So if you look in your farm store, farmers, you would see a fungicide by the name of Victory Plus that is positioned and tested worldwide with the active ingredient metalaxyl to control and prevent both late blight and early blight. And as I said, Althea, Irish is planted in the rainy season. In the rainy season, you have more incidences of fungal damage, more water mold damage affecting the plant. With that said, you need systemic fungicide, and that is why we are positioning the metalaxyl or Victory Plus for the Irish potato farmers to control the early blight and also their late blight. For the insect, one of the main insect that we really see plague Irish is really mites and a little bit of aphids. And about a year ago, we have the first strike that control the mites, but about a year ago, we registered 2 more products to control the mites and the aphids in Irish. We have the diaphenturan. If you look on the farm store, you see a product by the name of Sucker that control the mites and the aphids. And we also have the Spectra that also control the mites and the aphids. So what we are giving farmers is a catalog of insecticide and fungicide that they can rotate. Because as you know, as a best practice, no matter how good a chemistry is, as a rule of thumb, you should always rotate your chemistry. So you use one this week, one the other week. So that's why, as a company, we continue to give farmers options and the ability to rotate chemistry, both fungicide and insecticide that can control pest and disease in Irish potato. And as I said before, one of the ways in which we seek to address issues faced by farmers is doing our both formal and informal training. And I just want to inform you that tomorrow we'll be having a formal training on our Zoom platform on the same topic, Irish potato productivity and production. We will have a little more time on the Zoom where we can take more questions, we can divulge into more of these topics, dissect these topics, go into them, and we will have a more interactive section tomorrow on our Zoom platform. So farmers, you can access that tomorrow at 7 p.m. It's the same topic, but we'll just be elaborating more on these points.
Thank you so very much, Nigel. Quite a significant amount of information you have provided for us this morning. Before you leave us, anything else you want to add?
Well, I just want to implore to those farmers who heard about the Potato-Lizer Starta, who haven't tried it, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to us. Every parish is assigned an agronomist and a technical sales representative. Both individuals are equipped with information on the product, data based on demonstration, farmers who have been using the product year after year, the benefits, the rewards, the net profit they are being seen from the Irish potato production. So don't be left alone using traditional blends. You can reach out to us, give us a call, or lines are open, or emails are open. So once you reach out to us, by any means possible, we'll schedule a field visit, schedule a consultation, and we can get the product to you. So in this time when we have so much quality fertilizers at Newport-Fersan, we have so much quality pesticides, no farmer should be settling with low yields and low productivity. So we have the tools, we have the equipment, we have the technical personnel that can guide you.
Thank you so very much, Nigel, and a solid note on which to end. Looking forward to our next conversation.
Yes, I'll say thank you. All good.
All right, you too. Nigel Panton there. And of course, Nigel is agronomist for Zone 2, St. Anne, Clarendon, and St. Catherine, bringing to a close Fersan in the Field. Let's just take a quick word from our sponsors.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first